Hi everyone, it's Miss Rebecca. Today you'll need 2 pieces of white paper, a pencil, eraser, and something to color with. Okay, let's get started. Today we're going to make squirrels, woodland creatures. I want you to start with a very loose circle. A large circle on top of a smaller circle. Keep your hand loose. Sketch. So we're going to create the ears with this triangular curved shape. Just triangles. And then split your circle in half like a plus sign. You're going to create 2 large ovals on the horizontal part of your plus sign and a little tiny upside down triangle on the vertical line with 2 little tiny curves for the mouth. And make little tiny circles inside the 2 large ovals for the eyes. Okay, now for the body, all you have to do is make these little bumps or curved lines. And then we're going to make him holding an acorn. So just draw your curves, the top, the bottom, and the little part of the acorn on the top. And then for the feet, you're just creating these oval shapes or curves. Okay, and then we're making the little tummy. The little tummy is just 2 curves. And now the fun part is the tail. So the tail, start at the top of the head and make this curve that spirals around, spiraling around, meaning just curling around. And that's the top of your tail. And then curve around to the bottom of the body. Okay, so that's your basic little squirrel. Now we're going to add some darker lines to really define the edge of your squirrel. So you can round out the outside of the body with little zigzags to make it look a little furry. And you can outline the arms and the acorn and the feet. And just define it a little more so that way you can see it better. And there you have it. There's the body. I'm just going around the little arms again, a little bit darker. And then I'm going to put some more of these zigzag lines around, just following the lines that I first drew for the head and the ears. Maybe add a little triangle inside of the ears to add a little more detail to this cute little squirrel. There we go. Now, I'm happy with that. So now we're going to take a brown marker, and I just want you to outline, which means to trace around on top of your pencil line. So just if you want to add a little more zigzags to the line to make it look furry, you can. Or you could just follow exactly your pencil line, going around the whole head. Now I'm going to go around the shape of the body, adding a little bit of fur. And I'm going to do the little belly and the feet, just outlining around. There we go. There's the arms, 2 curves for the arms, and the little acorn. So the little acorn has like a little hat and a curve for the bottom of it. For the tail, I'm just going to follow that spiral around and curve the tail to connect it to the body. I'm going to outline my little tiny triangle and the mouth and the triangles inside the ears. There we go. Now we're going to change to black. But before you go to your black, take your eraser, just erase anything that is not supposed to be there. So your guidelines, you can erase. You don't need those anymore. And keep your eyes though. Make sure you go around the eyes. We're going to still keep those eyes. I'm going to erase inside the body just to clean it up a little bit. Take my eraser. The eraser goes right over the marker and the marker stays. And the pencil marks disappear. So there we go. Perfect. Brush it off. Now, we're almost ready to do the black. Just cleaning it up, brushing it off. All right, now you have your black, and we're going to outline the oval of the eye and outline the circle inside the eye. Fill in around the circle. Just fill it in with black. Take your time, stay inside the lines. Outline the oval, outline the circle, and fill it in with black. Looking good. There we go. You fill in the little nose as well. Beautiful. Okay, so let's take out our watercolors. Lay your paper flat like I did and use a lot of water inside the brown. And we're just taking that brown and filling in every part of your little squirrel's face except for the little tiny cheeks. So go around carefully around that mouth area and just fill in the whole head. And that includes the ears. When you use watercolor, make sure you're using a lot of water and you're going back and forth from the water to the paint, from the water to the paint, over and over. And then you're gonna fill in the body. Just carefully get into the body and into the little tiny arms. And we're leaving the belly of the squirrel white. So just be careful there to keep it white. We're gonna do little feeties and under the belly. And now we're gonna fill in the squirrel's tail. What you're gonna notice is that the water can make the marker blend or bleed a little bit, and that's okay. It kind of looks nice. Now switch to a very watery brown, and you could put a little bit of texture inside the belly part just by putting little dots of that watery brown. You can also take yellow and use the yellow for the acorn. The top of the acorn could be a darker brown, and what you'll see is that my brown bleeds a little bit. So you can just use your finger if you make a mistake like I did, and just wipe it with your finger. It's okay, it's watercolor. It comes right off. Okay, it comes off your finger too. Now let's do another one, a different squirrel. We're gonna start with a rectangle for this squirrel. So when you draw this one, we're gonna fit the squirrel shapes inside the rectangle. So you know it's 4 sides. Now on the top corner, I want you to loosely draw a circle. And then on the bottom corner, you're drawing a large circle. Nice and loose, keep your hand loose. Now we're gonna draw a lot of curves for this one. The curve that connects the 2 circles, they curve inwards. And then the curve for that front leg just follows the shape of the circle. Then you're creating a little curve for a foot. Now, we're creating one arm, and it's with 2 little curves, and it comes to a rounded point. Now we're going to create the acorn, but make a little rectangle for the acorn to fit in. Draw a curve at the top of your rectangle and then a curve at the bottom of your rectangle. So it's like the squirrel's holding a little acorn. Now, follow the top of that circle and make a curve that comes out for a little black spot, and that's the nose. And curve right under the nose to create a little tiny mouth. Okay? Now we're going to create another curve that comes out from the nose and creates a big football shape for the eye. And you're also adding another curve with a tiny little circle for the inside of the eye. Now, for the ears, you're making two little triangular shapes or two curve shapes. And make sure you add a curve inside those shapes so it looks like two ears. Now, we're going to make another guideline. This guideline is another rectangular guideline. So the bottom of that rectangle should hit the bottom of that circle, and then the top of the rectangle should hit the middle, in between the ears there. Okay, now this guideline's for the tail. So we're gonna start at the bottom and we're gonna curve. We're gonna do something called an S curve. So it kind of spirals around, just like that. And then it curves again, up and around the rectangle, and should land right there at the edge of that rectangle. And that's the big bushy tail of the squirrel. Now, we're going to create what looks like the back of the squirrel. Just outline around it. And we're going to add some details with the marker. So here's your brown marker. Notice that I'm adding a little bit of a zigzag edge as I outline around the squirrel. So that creates this fur feeling or fur texture. So just outline around your drawing, and every so often make a little zigzag so that it looks like your little squirrel has texture or a feeling of fur. Follow around the ears, outline carefully, take your time, outline that arch and that football shape for the eye, and then outline your acorn. Now I'm adding these little accents or these little dots. This also implies texture or fur. So you're just dot, 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 or a little broken line here, and that is around the outer edge of the tail. So that's gonna look a little like a furry tail. Now change to black. Fill in the black circle inside the eye, but leave that little white spot, and then fill in the little circle black nose. There we have it. Now it's time to taper down flat, and you're using your watercolor with a lot of water. So make sure that you are putting the water inside the brown color, and you keep going back and forth from the water to the paint, from the water to the paint. Use a lot of water when you use watercolors. We're going to fill in this entire squirrel with the brown watercolor. I'm just painting, and I fast forwarded it. You can go a lot slower. go around the cheek. You can leave the cheek white until it's all filled in. The top of the acorn is a darker brown, and if you see it bleeding or blending, it's okay, because then you just take your finger, like I'm doing here, and it takes it right off. And there you have it. Take your eraser, erase any extra marks that might be in the white sections of your paper or around your squirrel. If you don't want those pencil marks, go ahead and erase them. So try these two little woodland creatures. I'd love to see what you do. Post your work. Thanks, guys.